Hello everybody, I am Peter the Book Lover and this is my first monthly wrap-up video. Let's try this. Hello everybody, thank you for coming by. I'm really happy to have you here. You're wonderful for stopping by. Thank you for giving me a shot. Let's hope that I can make it with your time. This is going to be my first monthly wrap-up video. And I don't got much here. This wasn't a really exciting month as far as what I read, but I read some decent books, some good history books. So let's get into it. I want to thank you all for coming by before I get into the video, and let's check this out. Now, the first book that I finished this month is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This was written in the 1800s, and it's a very good book. But me personally, I want to read this book again because I really enjoyed it. I'll probably enjoy it more the second time, but at the same time, I'm going to reread it alongside other books. I'm not going to just read this book alone. I watched a movie with this, of this movie, and it was a pretty decent movie. I'm going to put it right here. And I liked it. The movie as well. And this was a really good book, and I recommend it. Some people really love this book. I gotta say, the writing is fantastic. I'm so happy that she got her book published. And the thing about it is, this is very realistic because I believe this is pretty much her actual life experiences. And this is a collection of stories of her actual time of growing up. So it's a pretty interesting book, and if you haven't read this, I would check it out. Also know that any book that you buy of this is literally 2 books. And if you ever get an abridged version of this book, there's a good chance you're going to get just book 1. And book 2 might surprise you on some of the things that happen in book 2. It's really great. I mean, it covers like when they're kids to when they grow up. Pretty cool. Okay, that's that one. Now, this one is the best book I've read this year so far. This is a fantastic book. This is First Blood by David Morrell, and this is wonderful. It's also the movie Rambo is wonderful as well. They're different than each other. The Rambo in the movie, in my opinion, is more heroistic, more of a hero than this guy. This guy is more of a guy that if you step on his toes, he's going to get you back double of whatever you give to him. And the ending of this book is amazing. A lot of people might be blown away by this. Some people might find the ending shocking. To me, it was like, what? Really good book, though, man. I highly recommend this one. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is Tesla, The Wizard of Electricity by David J. Kent. And this was a really wonderful book. Nikola Tesla, if you could get any books about him, you should read them because he's a very interesting character. He was eccentric. He really loved pigeons. And he created a lot of things. Very inventive guy. He'd have visions that were so detailed that he'd ask people if they were real, and they'd be like, I didn't see nothing. And then what he'd imagine would be something that worked really well. Plus, there's a whole bunch of information in this book that is great. Although, here's a suggestion to my fellow booktubers. Now, if you're highly educated and you know how to give a good presentation, do a detailed review of a history book. But if you're not really good at presentation, be careful reviewing these two. Be careful trying to give too many details away. You might start rambling a little bit long. I made a couple videos of reviewing a couple of history books, and I tried to go into great detail, and I think that's a mistake. I think I want to review these like I do my fiction novels. Just because in my fiction novels I try not to spoil the book. But in this book, I tried to give a lot of details away. But I think it would be a better idea if you're going to review a book, not just go, because let them discover it for themselves. You know what I mean? Just let them know that it's an interesting biography of somebody, and hopefully they could find this one, because this was a very good book with the illustrations and the pictures. Very good. Okay. Then after that, I read another history book. I was actually going to continue on with history, but for the month, and I pretty much did. So, this one was An American Plague, and this was very good. This is by Jim Murphy, and this is in story format. It should be accurate. I believe all this stuff is accurate. It's kind of funny. The next books that I read, actually, this was mentioned very briefly, and this went into great detail. In the end, it was yellow fever, but there was a lot of curiosity. There was the way this sickness is. Oh my Lord, it was crazy, and it's crazy on how it ended. It ended with just cold weather. It didn't end with them coming up with a cure. It is the weather that ended the plague. Very interesting book, though. I don't know how rare this book is, but if you get your hands on this was very interesting, and it's also a really good American history lesson. Love it. American plague. Oh well, I didn't love it. The things that happened in this book were awful, but I was engrossed. Now, I read this one next. This is Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mary Raphael and Ray Raphael. Two people. I don't know how that works on how two people write a book together, but they did a pretty good job of putting this book together. This guy was a person that got in a duel, and they cover dueling in this book. This is the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. This guy was not born in America, but he actually came here and he became a big part of our government. And he also did not like Thomas Jefferson. He's a Federalist, and Thomas Jefferson is an Anti-Federalist. They actually considered him to be a insurrectionist. So I read that. I also read this, and then I made a review. And like I say, I don't think I want to review history books like I did in the video, because I'm rambling on too much, and I don't want to ramble on too much about these books. But yes, I read this actually. This is a reread for me, and this is a nice little book about Alexander Hamilton. And the thing about it, which was really cool, is there was information in here that wasn't in there, and vice versa, which was really cool. Okay. Now, the next two books I read, I think I was this one first, and then I read this one. They look like they come from the same factory. Same people put these books together. These are very short, but very good. A lot of information here that I really enjoyed learning. A lot of stuff that I already knew, but it just reminded me, like Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark, I forgot which president sent them on their journey. Thomas Jefferson. And a whole bunch of other facts. This is pretty good. And this one is it's the same thing. Has a bunch of... This goes into more modern times, though. This one, it really... Kennedy's in here. About the same time period, maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, because Kennedy is definitely pretty recent. But both of these books cover a lot more of the past than than modern times, you know. Very interesting book. Okay, so that's all I read this month. And during the month, I communicated with another booktuber, and he wanted to send me a book, and so I agreed, and he sent me this book. This is Flesh Rehearsal by Brian Brower. And the thing about it is, I've read some of it. It's a nice to read, nice vocabulary and everything. And I'm going to do the audiobook of this book. I've talked to him, and I think he's cool with the idea, at least from what I understand, that I'm going to do the whole audiobook. I think he's going to like it because it's going to help promote his book. And it's an interesting way. If you've never have done an audiobook, it's a pretty interesting way. It's a pretty interesting way to read books. It really is. And if you want to make an audiobook and try to make it without mistakes, you cover the same material quite a bit. And it's like, if you do an audiobook of a book and you do it the way that I'm doing it, to where you're really trying hard to make it mistake free, although it's not perfect, there's still mistakes. Every now and then I'm in the editing process, there'll be a the that I don't add, and it's like I'm not gonna do a bunch of work to add the in, but if there's like some like big mistake, I'll actually make the effort to make it. But yeah, there's a couple flaws in it. I'm on chapter 14. And the thing about it is, I have not read past chapter 14. Well, chapter 15. I've read chapter 15. That's the next one I'm going to record. One more thing. If you are going to do an audiobook and you want to edit it heavily, the best way to do it is to do it one page at a time. And then when you make the video, the way that I have it, it has this as a thumbnail. That's what I was saying. So if you, the best way to do this, another suggestion on making an audiobook is to do one page at a time. And you want to, I don't know if you want to do it to where you're going to show yourself reading. When I do these, I prefer to not show myself, and you just see the image of the book. But to make that, I make a video of me reading it, and then when I edit it, and I get done editing it, I put whatever page it is. So when I look at all of my videos, I could see, there's page 1, page 2. So when you get the chapter done, you could easily put it together. And then after I was going to release this as one video, but this is gonna take over my channel for 54 days. I think this has got 54 chapters. So for 54 days, every day, you're going to see a new chapter by this book if you're visiting my channel. Viewer discretion is advised because there's some drug use and some sexual content in this. And not heavy, though. There's a part to where I thought it was going to get very sexual, but it kind of didn't. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting book. And look for the audiobook coming. Okay, and the other book that I'm reading at the same time, this is called Verbal Judo. And this is a book on how to persuade people to do things that you need them to do. This is a book about communications with people. This is written by George J. Thompson. He's a PhD. So he's a doctor. He was a cop. He was a teacher. So he's got a lot of experience. He teaches this course to police officers. And one interesting thing about this book that's kind of amazing is the Rodney King incident in 1991. The officers that were involved in that were about to take this course. And the author of this book mentions this, and he says he wonders if they took this course that they could have avoided that situation. And that turned out to be a very bad situation, man, back in 1991. I don't know if you remember that, but okay, that's the video of what I read. I was going to make this into a two-part video, but I decided to turn this into two different videos. I've got this coming. Another book haul. Pretty interesting. Some pretty good stuff here. And I'm going to talk about that. And so that's it about this video. I put names on the top of the screen, and all these people that I put here at the end of the video. If you know, it's a suggestion to check these channels out and see if you like them. Okay. And before I go, I want to thank everybody for being here. If you're going to give this video a like, thank you for those likes. If you want to give me a like in the future, I'm going to like those future likes. And if you want to not like the video and just watch, I'm thankful that you're here too. Look forward to the next video coming, and I will see you then.